Did you live from YouTube streaming or did you have a job? So YouTube and streaming didn't become an avenue of income for me until August of last year. The real credit to why I'm able to do YouTube and streaming as a career right now has been through Patreon. That is the lion's share of what keeps my bills paid, keeps the lights on, allows me to get equipment and things that I need to provide content that people support me for. When I started my YouTube channel, I had one job. Over the 2 years that I was working on my YouTube channel, I ended up getting 2 jobs. I worked at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's from 2010 to 2016. I was also in between that, I worked at a bunch of other jobs. I worked at GameStop. I worked at a fish factory. I did freelance work for a PlayStation website, so I wrote video game articles, but I wasn't getting paid for that. That was mainly for the experience. I wrote PlayStation news articles for a website for about a year. I worked for a snow shoveling company 1 year when we had like a massive blizzard. And it paid really well, but that was obviously a seasonal job that I took. So, but McDonald's was always my core job, and I always had a second job with it. And then on top of having 2 jobs, I also was working on my YouTube channel. Back then, I didn't monetize my videos until last year either. So all of the YouTube videos that I did, I didn't make any money off of. I just did it because it was a hobby. I never thought of it as a career. I never did it as a way of making money or getting noticed or popular or anything like that. And it wasn't until RWBY Volume 3 that the exposure that I received from like Rooster Teeth and the community figuring out and realizing who I was and enjoying the videos and giving me the viewership and the support that I needed to take my channel further. That was when, it wasn't until I went to RTX that I decided to quit my job and focus all of my attention on my YouTube channel and my streaming, because I actually met the people in person. Like, I met the people who care about the channel and who genuinely cared that my videos were an impact in their life and it was making their day. You know, a lot of people will say like, oh, I'm so lucky. Like that's the big thing. Like, it's not annoying to me, and I never get like annoyed by the fact that people say stuff like that, but one thing that is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine is when people tell me how lucky I am that I do what I do, because in no way, shape, or form what I do hasn't come without sacrifices or hasn't come... I'm about to fucking die from this troll, by the way. Like, what I do has taken so much time and dedication and work for me to do. And I'm not talking about just reactions, because in a way I can understand why people say, oh, I'm so lucky, all I do is, you know, sit in front of my monitor and watch stuff. Because, you know, I do put a lot of effort and time. I take time out of hanging out with my friends. I take time out of seeing my family now that I live on my own. I dedicate my time effectively because this is what I love to do and this is what makes people happy. I'm thankful for what I do because not a lot of people can say that they love to do what they do for a living, and I'm fortunate to be able to say that. I love the fact that I've been playing video games my whole life, and now I am actually entertaining 60 people in the chat right now on Twitch, playing a video game that I love because I have a passion for video games. And I can say that equally for something like RWBY that a lot of people subscribe to my channel for, or, you know, anything that I put on the channel, whether it's a review, whether it's a reaction, whether it's a live stream discussion, an unboxing for a product that I believe in. It's been a learning experience over the past 4 years now that and that's the thing too, I've been doing YouTube for 4 years. This isn't something that just happened overnight, you know what I mean? I didn't get acknowledged or recognized overnight. This is something that I've worked at over the last 4 years, being comfortable in front of a camera, being comfortable talking to myself in a room by myself in front of a camera, talking to an audience of people, whether it's 5 people, 20 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. And that's something that, if you watch my earliest videos, I struggled to death with that. I struggled so hard being comfortable in my own skin in front of a camera, especially expressing myself and not really caring what the internet thought of me, whether I'm crying or whether I'm being hyped or super loud and energetic about something that I'm passionate about. I can't say that I was half of the person that I am now that I was in high school. I wasn't really honest with fuck off. I wasn't really true to myself with a lot of things that I did, or with the people that I hung out with, or, you know what I mean? Like, I just kept a lot of that stuff to myself, and I wasn't really honest about who I was back then, because I cared about what people thought, you know? You know, I never gloat, and I never take for granted what I'm able to do now, and I try to make the most out of it every day, because especially what's going on with YouTube now, you know, I never know how long this is gonna last, and I always want to have a safety net in case something happens that makes it so I can't produce content anymore, or I can't be a YouTuber or a streamer as a career anymore, and I have to go back to the typical workforce, which I'm completely fine with doing. I'm very confident in the fact that if YouTube never works out, if it doesn't work out for me in the future, that I'm just as confident being able to go back to the service industry or retail or a typical, quote-unquote typical job that a lot of people kind of brush off and call it. There are some people too that don't acknowledge the fact that what I do on YouTube is a career, and it is a job in a way. Or it's a career path. I mean, I know reaction channels have a stigma. There is a stigma in the community. Oh, fuck. Actually, I remember this room. This is gonna be like a giant enemy that I have to fight. Yep, right there. Called it. So, yeah, it's absolutely true that there is a stigma on YouTube when it comes to... Oh, shit. I need to be careful because this thing actually is gonna inflict death on me. There's a stigma on YouTube when it comes to, reaction channels. Nice. And, because there are bigger YouTubers out there that, I'm not gonna say they ruin it for the bunch, but people kind of look at their channels and they're like, okay, this reaction channel represents all reaction channels. And by the way, I do want to just preface this by saying I don't consider myself a reaction channel, despite the fact that I make reaction videos. I think my content is more based on Rooster Teeth based content, and I am trying to branch off of doing that with like doing streams more and like Kingdom Hearts content on the channel, but I do know that RWBY and Red vs. Blue now are like the staples of why people subscribe to me. But at the end of the day, like I consider a reaction channel like a channel that specifically does reactions to anything. I don't know, and it's kind of odd because I only react to things that I actually have input on, that I'm actually passionate about, versus like what's trending or what I know will get me views. That's just me personally. Like when I first made my YouTube channel, I was so ashamed of it. I never wanted anyone to know I had a YouTube channel because it's like, for the average person who isn't like on YouTube all the time, like how do you explain to them your YouTube channel? Like I watch stuff and people watch alongside. Like the concept of a reaction channel is such a foreign concept, and it's becoming like a known concept on YouTube. But I didn't know how to explain that to like a friend or a family member, so I never told anyone I had a channel. But the overall stigma of like reactions is what led me to kind of evolve my channel. Like initially I was just like, for example, a lot of people discovered my channel during RWBY Volume 3. I've been doing RWBY content on the channel since RWBY Volume 1. I did reviews during Volume 1 and Volume 2, and it wasn't until Volume 3 that I started gaining a lot of traction because I incorporated reactions to my channel with RWBY. And then RWBY Volume 3, I did reactions and reviews, and then Volume 4, I took it up a level. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do reviews, reactions, and live stream discussions, which I clocked in over 30 hours of live stream discussing during Volume 3, which was kind of crazy, but it's something that I was passionate about, and it's something that I really wanted to do. And for Volume 5, I'm doing even more. Like, I'm still gonna be doing reviews, reactions, live stream discussions, and I'm doing another thing that I haven't announced yet as a form of growth, because I don't want to just be a one-trick pony. I don't want to just be that RWBY reactor or the RWBY guy. You know what I mean? I want my content to mean something to people, whether it's a reaction or whatever, but I never want to stay, I never want to plateau, and I never want to be stagnant. Yeah, so like that's another thing too, Blazing. Like I've thought of that a lot. I was like, what is my channel after RWBY ends? Because that's, the proof is gonna be in the pudding as to whether this was like something that was meant to be, or I was just riding this wave that is RWBY whenever it's around. So that's why I'm always trying to incorporate new things and do new things on the channel. That's why I try to be more active with streaming, because that's an avenue that I can go into if something changes or if a series ends or anything like that, and trying to integrate viewers into that content as well without it feeling like shoehorned or forced. And like I said, I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to have the chance to do that, because I have 40,000 subscribers, and I'm pretty sure those 40,000 people have other interests besides just RWBY or just Red vs. Blue, you know? I don't want it to just be like a one-trick pony thing. Like, if RWBY ends and I manage to get like, let's just say RWBY ends on Volume 15, and my channel has like, I'm just gonna throw a random number, 100,000 subscribers, and 100,000 of those people subscribe to me just for RWBY. I squandered the opportunity to expand and do other things and make those people a part of it, because I was just focusing on that one thing that was doing that I was doing really well at, and that was giving me a lot of success and attention. I've been reflecting a lot in the last couple of days on the content that I do and the work that I put into it, and the work that other people do and the work that they put into their content, whether it's streaming, whether it's like Rooster Teeth staff, or whether it's individual YouTubers or individual streamers. A lot of work goes into it, and I kind of just have that feeling that some people just, because that's not what they see, they don't see the struggle, they just see the fruits of the labor that go into the work. I feel like a lot of people don't take it seriously. If YouTube and Twitch and all of that, if that shit was easy, everybody and their mother would be doing it. Everybody would be doing it. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone would have tons of subscribers and tons of support and attention and praise, and that shit takes years to build up, and you can't be going into it with the mindset of popularity or wanting money or attention or fame, because I never wanted that, you know what I mean? That came to me, and that came to me because I stayed true to who I am and what I did. I make content that I love. I make content that I would love to watch. I love watching other people who make RWBY content, who make Red vs. Blue content based on the earlier seasons, of course, and I took Bernie's advice, you know, it's like, he always mentions, he's like, make content that you would want to watch. And that garnered a community of people that enjoy what I watch, and I'm grateful for the reception that I've gotten over the last, coming up on 2 years now, since a lot of you guys have discovered me, or since the boom of my channel. It definitely doesn't come without hard work, based on, you know, what people want to believe or want to assume, you know, that it's easy or something. It really isn't. You have to put your heart and soul into it, or it's not going to succeed. People aren't going to give a shit what you have to say if you're not transparent, or if you're not passionate, or if you're kind of putting on a facade. Personally, straight up, at the end of the day, I feel like people on YouTube who have less subscribers than me deserve more subscribers than me. I feel that people who have Patreon accounts deserve more support on their behalf than I do on my behalf. That's just how I was raised, you know what I mean? Like, not even raised, but that's just the mentality that I've always had growing up. I've never had the support that I have now, so it's always going to be a foreign concept. It's always going to be a foreign concept to know that, hey, I have this video idea that I want to put out there, and somebody will watch it, and somebody will support it. And the best thing that I can actually say is that people who have supported me over the years have given me more confidence now than I've ever had in my life. And that's not just from a content creator. Like, obviously I'm more confident in making content. Like, I fucking hate my old videos, but I'm so happy I can say that, because that just shows that I've grown and I've improved and I've gotten so much better with what I do now. But I don't know. I'm an anomaly. I think that sometimes. I think like I'm a fucking, I don't know. I feel like most of the things that I have, or most of the things that I've earned, are definitely deserving of other people than myself, but at the same time, clearly I'm doing something right if people want to support me. It's always a constant struggle with me to identify and just establish the fact that what I'm doing, it makes an impact, and is an impact in a lot of people's lives. It might not be to the extent of like a celebrity. It might not be to the extent, like, there are so many people that tell me I'm their favorite YouTuber, and I just think to myself, like, why? Why am I your favorite YouTuber? I'm like the bottom of the barrel when it comes to YouTubers. Like, your favorite YouTubers should be like MatPat, or fucking Philip DeFranco, or Boogie2988, like, those personalities, those people who are, like, probably more talented and successful than I'll ever be. But it blows me away that people tell me that people admire my channel and tell me that I'm their favorite. Man, I feel like I'm going on, like, a feels trip right now. I'm just pouring out whatever I'm thinking and feeling right now. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to just get bodied in this game from the time I started to the time I got off.